There's a lot going on right now with Damage Control, so we'll see what's new there. We'll also check out what's going on with Roman Reigns, Bobby Lashley, and more. Let's start things off with the latest updates regarding Damage Control members Bayley and Iyo Sky. So right around WrestleMania time, Damage Control appear to be going through a storyline that would ultimately break them apart. The once dominant faction that captured the women's tag team titles multiple times were no longer clicking and were all on separate pages. And that's how the story started to unfold. In the past, Dakota Kai and Iyo Sky didn't really speak up much and just went right along with whatever Bayley wanted them to do. But once the disconnection started happening, we saw Dakota and Iyo start to speak up more and question some of the things that Bayley was talking about. Like after WrestleMania, where Bayley failed to get Dakota and Iyo a rematch for the tag team titles, but somehow managed to get herself a #1 contenders match for the women's title. That's when Dakota and Iyo confronted Bayley, insisting that the #1 contenders match should go to one of them instead of her. And ever since that confrontation and moment right there, it's been downhill ever since. Iyo had her title match at Backlash, but lost it due to Bayley getting involved and costing her the match. And it was just big loss after big loss for Damage Control after that, and it created this interesting dynamic of waiting to see how the group will finally just implode. But as we all know, Dakota Kai unfortunately tore her ACL during a match, and right in the heart of this Damage Control breakup story. So after Dakota went down, no one really knew if WWE will keep the same story going, or call an audible to change the story around following Dakota's injury. We talked about how they can basically go one of two ways. Have Bayley and Iyo come closer than ever before and resolve their issues to honor Dakota Kai, or continue that breakup storyline strictly between Bayley and Iyo. And it appears that WWE has revealed what route they're going in for when it comes to the remaining members of Damage Control. It seems like they're still going through with the breakup story, despite Dakota's injury. So let's take a look at the June 16th edition of Smackdown, where things once again got heated for Bayley and Iyo. Bayley comes out to the ring with Iyo Sky, like she normally does. But it doesn't take long to see the miscommunication come into play. Iyo Sky had Zelina Vega rolled up, but there was no count by the referee, since the ref was busy dealing with Bayley on the ring apron. Iyo went in between the ropes to yell about it back and forth with Bayley, but Zelina Vega came right in with a 619 to defeat Iyo and win the match. Iyo was very upset about the loss, while Bayley was trying to calm her down a bit. And it didn't stop there. We then saw Bayley and Iyo continuing their conversation backstage until they got interrupted by Shotzi. Shotzi was upset that Bayley had costed her a spot in the Money in the Bank ladder match. Bayley says that Shotzi didn't deserve to be in that match. Shotzi challenges Bayley to face her and put her Money in the Bank spot on the line. Bayley hesitates, but Iyo speaks up for Bayley and says that Bayley accepts and will put her own Money in the Bank spot on the line against Shotzi. And Shotzi says that she'll go tell Adam Pearce to make it official. Bayley obviously wasn't happy with that move by Iyo and questions her about it. But Iyo says that she was just trying to help. Was Iyo really trying to help Bayley? Of course not. This was a sneaky way for Iyo to try and get back at Bayley for what happened earlier in the night during the match with Zelina Vega. So as you can see, Damage Control isn't working together and is instead trying to actively screw each other over. Even with the big loss of Dakota Kai, they still can't come together and settle their differences. So Bayley will now have to put her Money in the Bank spot on the line against Shotzi in a match that she doesn't even accept herself. And considering Bayley and Damage Control's strain of bad luck continuing, there's a high chance that Bayley might actually lose her spot to Shotzi after all. Maybe it's Iyo accidentally getting involved, or maybe it's Iyo legitimately making sure Bayley loses the match, but something along those lines has a really strong chance of happening. And if Bayley does lose her spot at Money in the Bank, this could be what gets Bayley to her own breaking point. Maybe Bayley becomes extremely frustrated and jealous of the fact that Iyo is still in the ladder match and she's not. Maybe that's what leads to Bayley finally turning on her last remaining Damage Control member. It's possible that this could even be the moment that they save for the Money in the Bank women's ladder match itself. The ring could be clear. Iyo Sky could be the one that's left standing, just moments away from grabbing the contract. Maybe it seems like Bayley's out there to help her, but that's when Bayley strikes and costs Iyo the contract. Something along those lines definitely seems like something Bayley's character would do, especially having the recent few months of frustration she's been having with Damage Control. And when they do eventually split up, it seems like Bayley will be remaining as a heel, while Iyo Sky turns babyface following Damage Control's breakup. Damage Control's demise has been a moment they've been teasing since right around April, so if that moment was to happen at Money in the Bank in a crucial spot like that, a Bayley preventing Iyo from winning the contract, that would change Iyo's career. It sets up the perfect foundation for a feud between Iyo and Bayley. So it's obviously extremely unfortunate that Dakota's not around right now, because it would have been extremely interesting to see what her role would have been within the breakup arc. But it looks like things will be going forward with Bayley and Iyo in a major way. So be on the lookout for that to continue. Roman Reigns has his hands pretty full right now with the entire collapse of the Bloodline. But it looks like Roman could already be up to another huge issue coming up on the horizon. And that's Bobby Lashley. When Bobby Lashley was first drafted to Smackdown earlier this year, all the fans instantly thought the same thing, that Bobby Lashley would be a great new opponent for Roman Reigns. Roman hasn't faced Bobby Lashley at all during his current Universal title reign. They've had little crossover moments, such as Roman Reigns assisting Lashley in winning the WWE title from Brock Lesnar back at Royal Rumble 2022, but they've never faced off one-on-one over the last 3 years. So he would be one of the rare and fresh opponents for Roman to face this deep into his title reign. Well, after a brief hiatus from WWE, Bobby Lashley made his return during a recent WWE live event, and he's not wasting any time at all. Bobby Lashley was seen in the WWE's Instagram comment section for the post about Jay leaving the Bloodline, and Lashley posted one single emoji of a red phone. Since it was a post that just had one emoji and no words, it's pretty much open to interpretation for what Lashley was trying to say. A lot understood it as Bobby Lashley calling Roman Reigns out and giving him a little warning signal that he was coming for him. So if that's the case, then things could get very interesting there for Bobby Lashley. Previously, reports said that if Bobby Lashley was to return in time for SummerSlam, that he and Lashley would resume their feud from earlier this year. But if Bray isn't back in time, could WWE turn to Bobby Lashley versus Roman Reigns at SummerSlam? It's definitely a possibility, but given what's going on right now with the Bloodline Civil War, fans are curious if either Jimmy or Jay would end up facing Roman at SummerSlam. So that's the latest there from Bobby Lashley. Maybe we are getting close to a meeting between Roman Reigns and Lashley after all. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.